So we are in Luang Prabang on the banks of the Mekong River. This is the
Mekong.
This is the former capital of the Kingdom of Laos from the 14th century. It's no longer the capital, and it's a UNESCO World Heritage city, Luang Prabang. And we arrived here by Slowboat, 2 days along the Mekong River from the Thai border.
So the Mekong River is the world's 12th longest river, 5,000 kilometers or more. And obviously it crosses lots of countries, from China to Thailand to Myanmar, here in Laos, across Vietnam and also Cambodia. So it's massive.
And we have been on the Mekong before. About 10 years ago when we came around Asia with our girls, we went to Krachi in Cambodia and went on the river there to see pink Irrawaddy dolphins, which are quite rare dolphins.
With their little squash noses. Yeah. They're pretty cute.
So that was our previous Mekong River experience.
This was next level though. So getting into Laos from Thailand, and even actually travelling up through Thailand across Laos towards Vietnam and some of the other countries further south, traditionally in the Lonely Planet days, that was the banana pancake route. So by going on the Slowboat, the fancier Slowboat, lucky us, we got to do just a little bit of the banana pancake route.
Yeah.
So the boat essentially went from Chiang Khong on the Thai border straight to Luang Prabang in Laos, but obviously not in a direct line. We followed the line of the Mekong River on the boat. Initially it went directly on the border between Laos and Thailand, so we had Thailand on the right and Laos on the left, and then continued further into Laos as far as Pac Beng village. At Pac Beng village we all stopped and got off the boats. All the boats stopped at the same place, stayed in a hotel, watched the sunset, had some drinks and dinner, and then the next morning we got back on the boat, continued along the Mekong River. We stopped at one more village and also stopped at the Pac O Caves before continuing on to Luang Prabang.
So the boats behind us are the typical boats that travel on the Mekong, either for locals, for backpackers, or the slightly fancier versions that you can take. So there are different ways to get across the border from Thailand to Laos. We got everything done as part of a package with the Nagi Tours. They helped us with paperwork for the visas the day before. We then filled them in, got picked up, and over near the Friendship Bridge, we filled out the final ones, paid our $40 and got the visas sorted out with the friendliest immigration in the world.
Yes, very smiley when they said smile for the camera.
Yeah, you don't usually get that.
No, you don't usually get that. And then we'd done the Thai immigration, and then we got on a bus that took us across the Friendship Bridge. So we were in no man's land, and you could see the change from the Thai flags halfway across. It switched to Lao flags, and we were in Laos and then did the Lao immigration at that side. So that was really good to have that all included as part of the package for the cruise. So we literally just waited at our hotel and got chauffeured around and everything done until we got on the boat in Laos. So the local boat, which is just purely the transport. You can buy drinks and snacks on board, but it literally just takes you from point A to point B. So it does the same route that our cruise did over the same length of time. So it's still 2 days, about 350 kilometers from the same points. But at $15, which is about 21 Australian dollars, it's just the basics. And from what we'd read and heard, it can be very crowded. You don't always get a seat. We aren't in peak season, so we spoke to people who were on the boat and they did get seats, but they also said on day 2 there were screens down the side of the boat and they couldn't actually see out to see the river or anything but the side.
So normally 70 odd people on the boat, but they can go as high as 150 in peak time, so you just don't know what's going to happen.
So we chose to splash out $140 each, so quite a bit extra.
Oh, Chihuahua inlet incoming.
But for that we got all the help with the border crossing, and there was a maximum of 40 people as well. There was only actually about 12 people on our boat. 13 people.
Total, yeah. Good mix of nationalities.
Yeah, really great people, and that was one of the best bits of the boat, was meeting new people, hearing all their stories, their travel stories, and having the space and the time to do that. There was a lot of space on the boat at the front, at the back, in the middle. You could lie down, sit, stand. That was
headstands.
Yep, that was one of the best parts of that boat, which again we wouldn't have had in the same way on the backpacker boat. Wouldn't have had that space.
And the stop-offs as well, like the one stop on the first day and a couple of stops on the second day. I don't think you get any of that. You just have the middle night in Pac Beng that's common between the backpacker boat, the local boat, and the more expensive one.
Yeah, so the backpacker boat is literally just your transport from A to B, whereas ours was a cruise. So we did choose that option deliberately, and I'm very glad that we did, very happy that we did. Our boat was called the Nagi of Mekong, and Nagi are mythical serpents that live in rivers such as the Mekong River. And this was our beautiful boat. So lots of places to sit, nice soft cushions at the front. That was our captain. Our luggage was all stored securely out of the way under the seats, so we didn't have to worry about that. There were tables and benches, and enough so that it was only 2 people per table. Plenty of space there, so that was great for when we were eating, and we also moved around and chatted quite a lot. Further back from the tables was the food. There was a constant supply of water, fresh fruit, tea, coffee, hot chocolate, plenty of cups, plenty of glasses, and plenty of hot water. And the esky that kept the water cold as well if you wanted chilled drinks. There were 2 toilets with slippers to put on to protect your feet. They were Western toilets and had plenty of toilet paper, which is always a bonus in Southeast Asia. Further towards the back of the boat, there was another seating area with soft cushions. And then both days we had lunch. So it was an all-you-can-eat buffet lunch, a mixture of Thai and Lao food, which was always delicious. And there was always a dessert as well. So we had mango sticky rice one day and fresh fruit the next day. Once we set sail, as we mentioned earlier, we had Thailand on our right and Laos on our left, because the Mekong follows the border for the first part of the cruise. But after a while we turned and it was just all Laos. As we cruised up the river, we got to see how, for the people of Laos, certainly in this region, their lives are inextricably linked to the River Mekong. We saw their houses, their boats, their animals, and the people themselves working right along the river banks. People who'd been fishing, gutting and preparing those fish and cleaning everything up. And we also saw a lot of gold panning. So this is a traditional activity mostly done in the dry season when the rivers are low, and it is done largely by women. And there are also big dredging machines that we saw that lift up the silt and sift it through, and supposedly the gold drops to the bottom. On the cruise, we got to stop at 2 different villages. On the first day, we stopped at a village that was Kamut Hill Tribe. So these people believe in the spirits of nature, land, and their ancestors. So there's no temples or anything here. We got to see a cotton tree in their village and how they harvest the cotton from the pods. It wasn't the right season, but we got to see one that wasn't quite ripe. That was interesting. But best of all, we got to spend time with the children here. They took us to see their local village school, and we got to look inside some of the classrooms and spend a little bit of time with the children, which I personally really enjoyed. The second village we visited on day 2 was of Lao Lum people, and they are Buddhists, so there was a temple in this village. This was a much larger village, much more established, bigger houses, and there was also rice fields, which being the dry season, they weren't actually growing, but we did see some rice drying on tarps in those fields. We saw again lots of children playing, but in this village they were getting involved in actually selling their wares. They were selling some embroidery. We saw ladies weaving and selling beautiful scarves. And we also got to see the distilling of Lao Lao rice whiskey. So this is very popular in Laos, and it's a very strong spirit. Goes through this contraption several times apparently until it gets to the desired strength and flavor. We were given the option to taste some, but for us, I think just having a sniff of it was enough. So really enjoyed seeing these villages. Getting to interact with the children was a highlight for me, and getting an insight into their lives. So after witnessing all this traditional way of life, we also got to see the progress that is being made now. Like this bridge that takes the train, the high-speed bullet train, from China all the way down through Laos. And ultimately, it will go all the way to Singapore. The bridge for the high-speed bullet train that goes all the way up to China will be going across this bridge in a few weeks' time. It's a very big bridge. At the moment we're just cruising underneath it on our Mekong cruise boat. There we go. Bridge to China. We also saw an awful lot of construction going on of dams. 80% of the power in Laos is produced by hydroelectric power, which great, it's a good clean form of energy. There are more than 70 operational dams in Laos currently and more being built. So it was incredible to see the scale of this construction close up, but also sad to see the environmental impact of this construction. And also to think about all those people that we'd just seen living along the river and how this is going to affect their traditional way of life. There's likely to be a lot of resettlement of the local populations, and who knows about this Mekong cruise, whether this will continue when the dams are finished. The final stop on our cruise was the Pac O Caves, which are 2 caves which are like Buddhist temples, and they are famous for housing thousands of Buddhas. So there's an upper cave and a lower cave. Up several steps to get to the top cave, which has some impressive gates to enter, and it's a very large cave inside and has, yes, you guessed it, lots of Buddhas inside. As I said, the gates were the most impressive thing at the top of this cave, and then we went back down the steps to get back to the lower cave, the lower temple. Beautiful view from there over the boats, and again, a few more steps just to get up to the lower temple. And what do we see up here? Yes, you guessed it, thousands more Buddhas. So it was a nice, cool place to come, and it was a little bit different and worth it for the views, I think. So the Pac O Caves, close to Luang Prabang. So for me, one of the best things about doing the cruise was the people that we met and the time that we got to spend with them, because it really was relaxing. There was space, and it was nice to meet people from England, Scotland, Brazil, Germany, originally Russia, but now Germany, Canada, America, all sorts of nationalities, and of course the crew, the Lao crew on the boat.
Who were a family, that was a nice aspect.
Yeah, and all very friendly, and yeah, for me, that was worth doing, just for a lovely group of people to share the experience with and get to know.
That's what made it slow. I was putting in votes for making it a 3-day cruise. If it was any way to slow it down further, it was just it's like time stopped just for those 2 days. Yeah. And although there wasn't amazing things to see and giraffes and hippos, it was just beautiful, slow, real life, and just watching the world go by and having a chat. It was lovely.
Yeah, loved it. Would definitely recommend it before it disappears, because it may not last.